Northwestern coniferous forest. Mild, moist air from the Pacific Ocean provides abundant rainfall to this biome. The forest is made up of a variety of conifers, ranging from giant redwoods along the coast of Northern California to spruce, fern, and hemlock further north. Moss often cover tree trunks and forest floors. Flowering trees and shrubs, such as dogwood and rhododendron, are also abundant. Because of its lush vegetation, the northwestern coniferous forest is sometimes called a temperate rainforest. Abiotic factors: mild temperatures, abundant precipitation during fall, winter, and spring, relatively cool, dry summer, rocky, acidic soils. Dominant plants: Douglas fir, Sitka spruce, western hemlock, redwood. Dominant wildlife: bears, large herbivores such as elk and deer, beavers, predators such as owls, bobcats, and members of the weasel family. Geographic distribution: Pacific coast of northwestern United States and Canada, from northern California to Alaska. Boreal forest. Along the northern edge of the temperate zone are dense evergreen forests of coniferous trees. These biomes are called boreal forest or taiga. Winters are bitterly cold, but summers are mild and long enough to allow the ground to thaw. The word boreal comes from the Greek word for north, reflecting the fact that boreal forests occur mostly in the northern hemisphere. Abiotic factors: long cold winters, short mild summers, moderate precipitation, high humidity, acidic nutrient-poor soils. Dominant plants: needle-leaf coniferous trees such as spruce and fir, some broadleaf deciduous trees, small berry-bearing shrubs. Dominant wildlife: predators such as lynxes and timber wolves and members of the weasel family. Small herbivore mammals, moose and other large herbivores, beavers, songbirds, and migratory birds. Geographic distribution: North America, Asia, and Northern Europe. Tundra. The tundra is characterized by permafrost, a layer of permanently frozen subsoil. During the short, cool summer, the ground thaws to a depth of a few centimeters and becomes soggy and wet. In winter, the topsoil freezes again. This cycle of thawing and freezing, which rips and crushes plants' roots, is one reason the tundra plants are small and stunted. Cold temperatures, high winds, the short growing season, and humus-poor soils also limit plant height. Abiotic factors: strong winds, low precipitation, short and soggy summers, long, cold, and dark winters, poorly developed soils, permafrost. Dominant plants: ground-hugging plants such as mosses, lichens, sedges, and short grasses. Dominant wildlife: a few resident birds and mammals that can withstand the harsh conditions. Migratory waterfowl, shorebirds, muskox, Arctic foxes, and caribou. Lemmings and other small rodents. Geographic distribution: northern North America, Asia, and Europe. Other land areas. Some areas of land on Earth do not fall neatly into the major biome categories that we described previously. These areas include mountain ranges and polar ice caps. Mountain ranges. Mountain ranges can be found on all continents. On mountains, the abiotic and biotic conditions vary with elevation. As you move up from the base to summit, temperatures become colder and precipitation increases. Therefore, the types of plants and animals also change. If you were to climb up the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, for example, you would begin in a grassland, then you would pass through an open woodland of pines. Next, you would hike through a forest of spruce and other conifers. Next, near the summit, you would reach open areas of wildflowers and stunted vegetation resembling tundra. In the Canadian Rockies, ice fields occur at the peaks of some ranges. Polar ice caps. The icy polar regions that border the tundra are cold year-round. Outside this ice and snow, plants and algae are few, but do include mosses and lichens. In the North Polar region, the Arctic Ocean is covered with sea ice, and a thick ice cap covers most of Greenland. Polar bears, seals, insects, and mites are the dominant animals. In the South Polar region, the continent of Antarctica is covered by a thick layer of ice that is nearly 5 kilometers thick in some places. There, the dominant wildlife include penguins and marine mammals. Chapter 4-3 Section Assessment. Number 1. Key Concept. List the major biomes and give one characteristic feature of each. Answer. The world's major biomes include tropical rainforest, tropical dry forest, tropical savanna, desert, temperate grassland, temperate woodland and shrubland, temperate forest, northwestern coniferous forest, boreal forest, and tundra. Each of these biomes is defined by a unique set of abiotic factors, particularly climate, and a characteristic assemblage of plants and animals. The tropical rainforests are home to more species than all other biomes combined. The leafy tops of tall trees extending from 50 to 80 meters above the forest floor form a dense covering called a canopy. And below the canopy, a second layer of shorter trees and vines form an understory. Organic matter that falls to the forest floor quickly decomposes and nutrients are recycled. Tropical dry forest. Tropical dry forests grow in places where rainfall is highly seasonal rather than year-round. A tree that sheds its leaves during a particular season each year is called deciduous. Tropical savanna. Receiving more seasonal rainfall than deserts but less than tropical dry forests, tropical savannas or grasslands are characterized by a cover of grasses. All deserts are dry. In fact, a desert biome is defined as having annual precipitation of less than 25 centimeters. Temperate grassland. Characterized by a rich mix of grasses and underlaid by some of the world's most fertile soils, temperate grasslands such as plains and prairies once covered vast areas of the Midwestern and central United States. Temperate woodland and shrubland is characterized by a semi-arid climate and a mix of shrub communities and open woodlands. Temperate forest. Temperate forests contain a mixture of deciduous and coniferous trees. Coniferous trees, or conifers, produce seed-bearing cones and most have leaves shaped like needles. Soils of temperate forests are often rich in humus, a material formed from decaying leaves and other organic matter that makes soil fertile. Northern coniferous forest. Mild, moist air from the Pacific Ocean provides abundant rainfall to this biome. The forest is made up of a variety of conifers, ranging from giant redwoods along the coast of northern California to spruce, fir, and hemlock further north. Because of its lush vegetation, the northern coniferous forest is sometimes called a temperate rainforest. Boreal forest. Along the northern edge of the temperate zone are dense evergreen forests of coniferous trees. These biomes are called boreal forest or taigea. The tundra is characterized by permafrost, a layer of permanently frozen subsoil. Number 2. How are biomes classified? Answer. A biome is a complex of terrestrial communities that cover a large area and is characterized by certain soil and climate conditions and particular assemblages of plants and animals. Each biome has a characteristic climate and community of organisms. Number 3. What are the two types of tropical forest? How do they differ? Answer. The two types of tropical forests are tropical rainforest and tropical dry forest. First of all, tropical rainforests are home to more species than all other biomes combined. The leafy tops of tall trees, extending from 50 to 80 meters above the forest floor, form a dense covering called a canopy. In the shade below the canopy, a second layer of shorter trees and vines form an understory. Organic matter that falls to the forest floor quickly decomposes and nutrients are recycled. And generally, the abiotic factors in a tropical rainforest are hot and wet year-round, thin nutrient-poor soils. While some of the dominant plants are broad-leaved evergreen trees, ferns, large woody vines and climbing plants, orchids, and bromeliads. While tropical dry forests grow in places where rainfall is highly seasonal rather than year-round. During the dry season, nearly all the trees drop their leaves to conserve water. A tree that sheds its leaves during a particular season each year is called deciduous. And some of the abiotic factors of a tropical dry forest include generally warm year-round, alternating wet and dry seasons, and rich soils subject to erosion. Some of the dominant plants are tall deciduous trees that form a dense canopy during the wet season, drought-tolerant orchids and bromeliads, aloes, and other succulents. Number 4. How might a mountain range affect the type of plants and animals found in an area? Answer. While in mountains, as you move up from base to summit, temperatures become colder and precipitation increases. Therefore, the type of plants and animals also change.